We are here at Marondera District, Ward 23, here at Tarara Farm with Mr. and Mrs. Nyatanga, who are venturing into a piggery project. A sow just furrowed 31 piglets, and out of the 31, only one came out as stillborn. The rest were born alive, which has broken the country record, if not the regional record, because we are yet to still establish where a sow furrowed 37 piglets because it was not in Africa. At PIB, so far the highest has been 23, followed by 21. Under normal circumstances, this breed called large white furrows about 12 to 16 piglets, but in this case, it is a crossbreed between pure Daland and pure large white, and it follows 12 to 16. But in this case, we have 31 piglets. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for tuning into yet another informative edition of your program. This is Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, and I am Wazanai Manyore. In this particular segment, we have taken the liberty of inviting Mr. Newton Garikai Chari. He is the team leader of Zimbabwe Agricultural Growth Plan Value Project. Mr. Chari, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks a lot, Wazanai.
Yes, as we get into our discussion, I would like us to have a brief synopsis, a brief focus on the Zimbabwe Agricultural Growth Plan. What does it entail?
So the Zimbabwe Agricultural Growth Program is part of the efforts the government of Zimbabwe and the European Union are undertaking in Zimbabwe to promote an inclusive and diversified agricultural sector within the country. The program basically comes in with two main broad objectives. The first one being to promote production, to promote productivity, to promote organizational efficiencies, to promote competitiveness, market competitiveness among smallholder farmers. And over and above that, we're also looking forward at developing a conducive agribusiness environment that allows the growth of different value chains to be right within the sector. So the program is basically covering multiple value chains ranging from beef value chain, which is being led by World Vision. It's also covering the dairy value chain, which is led by We Effect. It's covering the poultry value chain, which is led by COSPI. And then we have cutting edge research, which is also being led by World Hunger under a program which is called ZAKIS, Zimbabwe Agricultural Knowledge and Innovation Services. And then we also have got animal health components which are being covered by FAO. And then Action Aid with a host of partners, co-applicants are coming in to specifically strengthen the pork and goat value chain. So that's how the Zimbabwe Agricultural Growth Program is structured at macro level.
Okay. Now, Mr. Chari, I understand that you are the team leader of the Value Project Consortium. What does it entail, the activities that come with such a role?
So the Value Consortium, basically it's an abbreviation of Value Chain Alliance for Livestock Upgrading and Empowerment. And we are focused on promoting two main value chains, the goat and pig value chain. I can say for a very long time, particularly in the pork value chain, we've not had any significant funding that has really come in to enhance that sector, particularly to address some of the structural dynamics which are involved within this value chain. And we are grateful to the government of Zimbabwe and the European Union for coming with such an initiative. And what we are basically working on in the pork value chain is to address various system level constraints that have hindered smallholder farmers to reach the optimization level which they would require to commercialize. So the beauty about these programs is they are coming in to specifically enable smallholder farmers in all the value chains to commercialize. So in the pig value chain, we've identified that there are various system level constraints which have otherwise hindered smallholder farmers over the years. The first one coming in was on breeding. And breeding has been a consistent challenge in the country where smallholder farmers have not been able to access the right genetic material to get into production. And already the program was coming in to bridge that gap by importing top quality genetics. And already at this point we've been able to import top quality breed genetics coming in from South Africa, Dan breed, which is a Dutch brand which came into the country. And we are expecting to begin to start to yield some of the benefits of breed improvement, as we have also witnessed here at Tarara Farm. And that is part of what we will continue to see in many other smallholder farmers that we are working with. One of the key issues we are also addressing as well is bringing in various technologies which allow farmers to be productive. For instance, artificial insemination insemination, how can farmers also begin to adopt that technology so that they are able to inseminate their animals rather than having physical bulls? You can also tap into semen from various top quality breeds and also inseminate your animals. So we are coming back to address these breeding constraints. Feed is also one of the critical elements the program is going to be addressing through a collective action. And we've noticed that over time, our farmers are at times facing high costs of production, which are ranging between 70 to 80% of the inputs being specifically costs of feed. So we are coming in trying to encourage our farmers to get into collective action so that when they are working in their collective action, they will be able to bargain and get discounts for large volumes. But at the same time, we are also getting into research so that we are able to really come out with alternative on-farm available feeds, which farmers can be able to also apply and lower their costs of feed. Transport has also proved to be another challenge which the value chain has been encountered with, and already the project has imported 10-ton trucks which will be synchronized to be able to address the needs from different farming levels. So in a simple way, farmers should be coming together, organize, synchronize their diaries which they need to get to the market, and when farmers are organized, they tap into that truck to carry their feed resources, and as soon as the truck is delivering various feed resources along the corridors, the truck also in a way begins to collect some of the pork which farmers have produced and bringing them to a centralized abattoir. So we've noticed that over time there haven't been structured marketing facilities for many of our farmers, particularly the slaughter side of pork. You've seen farmers slaughtering under trees, which is also a risk on itself because farmers' products and the farmers themselves, consumers, are exposed to various zoonotic diseases which are passed on, particularly if some veterinary processes are not followed. So as a program, we'll also be setting up abattoirs along the two corridors so that farmers are able to slaughter at that point. And immediately after slaughtering, one of the key exercises which we have been undertaking as a program is to profile various markets within the corridors that we are working in. So the project is designed in a corridor approach which feeds into main consumer markets. And Harare and Bulawayo have proved to be markets which consume about 50 to 60% of all the pork production which happens within the country. So as a program, soon after the slaughter, we'll be linking farmers to these different market actors, outlet markets, so that farmers are able to pilot direct marketing and ultimately be able to reach to the end market without necessarily having to pass through various stages, which you traditionally have seen the farmers losing value along the chain. Then in the goat value chain, we've also identified that breeding constraints are there as well, and we'll be working towards bringing in top quality genetics, the second batch. We've already brought in the top quality breeds for the first time. We've got the Sanen, the Kalahari Red, the Boer goats already in the country, and our various integrators, Rikomboro Farm, Mitchview, are actually breeding, and these genetics will be passed on to the smallholder farmers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chari. That was very detailed, and I believe our viewers there at home have picked one or two, have been taking notes. Now, viewers, we are going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the second segment of your program. Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers. You are watching Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, and I am Wadzanai Manyore. We are here in Marondera, Ward 23 at Tarara Farm, where Mrs. and Mr. Nyatanga are doing piggery project, where we have just had a sow which has broken the record, the country record, if not the regional record, of having 31 piglets in one go. Now, viewers, we encourage you to be a part of these conversations. Feel free to get in touch with me, the producer, Wadzanai Manyore, on 0772 807 506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. You can also make a follow-up on this episode and more, and leave your comments and suggestions on our YouTube channel, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. You can also follow us and like us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle there is at Agribusiness110. Now, at this particular point in time, we have taken the liberty of inviting Mr. Samson Chauruka, the integrator and implementing partner of the EU-funded Value Project, Mashonaland East Province. Mr. Chauruka, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. We are quite excited to be here, and this is the whole theme around our project, to make sure that we increase productivity and efficiency and commercialize the smallholder farmers.
Yes, as we get into our discussion earlier on, I was joined by Mr. Chari, the project leader of the ZAGP Value Project. Now, you, Mr. Samson Chawaruga, your role as the integrator or the implementing partner in this whole setup, what is your role and what do your activities entail?
Yes, Shamiso Farm represents the social entrepreneurship where, as Zimbabweans, as more excelled farmers in pig farming, we decided to ensure that we also help fund the project by making sure that we put the different systems necessary to ensure that there is commercialization and there is growth in the smallholder or the SME sector of pig production. So Shamiso Farm's role as the social entrepreneur is to make sure that we were able to underwrite and also contribute in terms of funding to the project so that the farmers are able to maximize their productivity.
Okay, moving right along, how are you complementing the European Union's interventions in the Value Project yourself is representing Shamiso Farms?
As a medium-sized farmer, we were able to then import the breeding stock and lay the basis for the smallholder farmers to access high genetics, to make sure that we are putting up a winner to finish a program where the small scale farmers, the ones in the communal areas, are able to start off their piggeries by accessing winners and be able to grow them as they learn to grow, so that we mix the knowledge gained and the experience of the farmers before they become breeders.
Now, Mr. Chari, moving right along, I understand that the Value Project theory of change is hinged on collective action. We grow together, and those that are ahead should carry those who are lagging behind. That is your goal, that is your mantra. Now, can you give us a brief synopsis of the syndication model?
The basis of a syndication model is to create localized microeconomies to lower the cost of doing business by making sure that the bigger farmers are able to leverage the smaller farmers, and so that they grow together and are able to share and maximize on the synergies, so that as a group we are able to access and mainstream our production as part of commercialization, bundling up the production and also having a voice. Like, for example, in Mashonaland East, we have got about 4,600 farmers. Because we are not integrated and inter-aggregated together, we don't have the muscle to be able to put together and mobilize resources to have a voice on what prices our products are going on the market. We are being stuck on a farm gate price. But if the 4,600 farmers are able to come together and, as the value chain is developed, are able to share those things which are done before, like feed production and animal health issues, and those which are done beyond the farm, like the slaughter, the cold chain, and the wholesaling of their product together, will be now able to talk to the big retail chains, will be able to lay our stake in terms of aggregating our inputs into the farms, and able to negotiate positions within the industry, because we'll be working within the value chain and transfer pricing the production in a way that everyone is getting fair value for their production.
I would like to welcome you, Mrs. Nyatanga. You are our piggery farmer who's venturing into the pig project, where you are here at Tarara Farm, Marondera District, Ward 23. Now, as we get into our discussion, Ms. Nyatanga, how did you get into this kind of a project, and how did you end up being under Zimbabwe Agricultural Growth Program? How did you make your way? How did you find your way in such a program?
Firstly, I think we started about 4 years ago together with my husband. We worked together. And I would say that initially it was his passion, but it has actually turned and overturned. It is now my passion. He's always laughing and saying that I'm now more ahead than him. But the excitement of having something grow in your hands, something that you nurture in your hands, has been very, very exciting, has been eye-opening. And I mean, I'm a woman, I'm also in the youth bracket, and it's something that obviously a lot of people would say, oh, okay, does she not have anything else to do? No, this is very good, and financially it is also quite good, even for my children.
Okay.
So it's very exciting.
Now, Ms. Nyatanga, like you have just said, you are in the women's bracket, where we constitute to about 52% of the country's population. At the same time, you are a youth, where we have about 67% of the youth, constitution to well over 15 million of our population. Now, let us talk about you as a woman. Your contribution to issues in our economy, such as food security. We are talking of alleviating hunger, eradication of poverty. What does this mean to you, especially that you have reached this milestone where we are saying that your sow right here has broken the country's record, if not the regional record, where you have had your sow furrowing well over 30 piglets. I understand that there was just one still birth. What does this mean to you? What would you like to say to the rest of the viewers who are out there taking notes, looking up to you?
One thing for sure is that obviously our constitution, section 17, speaks to gender balance.
Yes.
And that is very important for us to get involved as women and also as the youth, because there's a cry out there of not being involved, not taking part, but let's not wait for opportunities to come to us. Let's grab the opportunities. And for me personally, it's an opportunity that I've managed to grab. And we're actually working together, obviously, with the husband. It's very good. It's exciting. And I've got a daughter and a son, and they're both they're still young, but they're very, very involved in the piggery business.
Very hands-on.
Very hands-on. And I also just want to say that to the other women out there and to the youth out there, get involved, get yourself started. A lot of the issues that come up are, oh, okay, it's capital intensive. Yes, piggery is capital intensive, but you have to look ahead. When we are young, when we are women, we have to think of the future. And this is exactly what we've managed to do here. We're excited about the 31 furrowed, and unfortunately one was stillborn. But it's good. And I also want to thank God, obviously, because it's also a blessing. I feel that for the project, it's a sign of many blessings to come. We were selected as a champion farmer in Marondera. That means that we have to mentor other small-scale farmers as well who are interested in piggery. I've actually had some come into my inbox and things like that, and we are here to help. We are there to move together. And as a nation, we really need to concentrate on the things that are making us big, on the things that are putting us on the market. And piggery is one of them. We need to concentrate on the prices, we need to concentrate on the market, we need to concentrate on the vaccines, and we need to concentrate on the quality that we want to be able to produce in the pork industry.
That was very detailed, Ms. Nyatanga, and I should say I'm very humbled to be with you at this point in time. I saw you running around in your pigsty, you were sitting next to your piglets, you were nurturing like what a mother would do. Now, as we round off our segment, your final remarks in 30 seconds to the viewers there at home.
Get started. You need to get into it. Don't contemplate, get into it, get started, get everything written down on paper, financial breakdown of everything that you want to do, and make sure that you follow through. And also just make sure that you are quite aware of what is happening in Zimbabwe, regionally and globally, so that you stay on top of your game. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nyatanga. There you had it, viewers. We are not going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the third and final segment of your program. Stay tuned. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness. We are in the third and final segment of your program, and I've taken the liberty of inviting Mr. Tamo Musa, the Head Training and Extension Services at the Pig Industry Board right here in Zimbabwe. Mr. Musa, thank you once again for joining us today.
Thanks, Wazi.
Yes. As we get into our discussion, we would like to look at this scenario we are having here, Ward 23 Tarara Farm at Mr. and Mrs. Nyatanga's farm, where they've just had a sow furrowing 31 piglets. From your words, you were saying that it has broken the national record in the pig industry board, where you once had 23 piglets from one sow and followed by another one which had 21 piglets. So now let us talk about what does it take for a farmer to have this encounter?
This is all to do with, mainly to do with genetics. you need to have good genetics. And this is why, as Pig Industry Board, we always encourage farmers to source their breeding stock from reputable breeders, because the right genetics will give you the right numbers, because every time breeders are thriving to come up with the breeds that give you as many piglets as possible, and this is exactly what we want. And the kind of genetics that I'm talking about, Pig Industry Board, we have as a mandate to produce breeding stock for the farmers. And I'm happy to say this farmer or this couple, Mr. and Mrs. Nyatanga, they got all their pigs from Pig Industry Board, and we are very happy to be associated with that. So besides the genetics, a management aspect will also come in, because the pig itself will not do wonders besides the farmer's effort. And when I'm talking about the farmer's effort, I'm actually looking at the management, which encompasses the feeding aspect, and it also takes the disease control aspect.
Sanitation.
So yes, and we normally train farmers to know all these production principles, so that when the farmers are into pig production, they know exactly what to do and when to do it.
Yes, I understand that as the Pig Industry Board, you always have calls of where you are saying it is possible for a farmer to have a sow that is furrows up to 27 piglets a year. Apart from good breed, apart from quality genetics, how can a farmer attain 27 piglets per sow per year?
Yes, we always encourage farmers to aim at that number. That means from 2 furrowings. It means the sow will going to furrow twice a year.
Okay, twice a year.
For you to get that number.
Yes.
But which is not exactly what happened here.
Yes.
Because we got 31
in one
just
go.
From one furrowing, which means if the farmer is going to get yet another furrowing, even if he gets something like 15 or so, but the number already that the farmer is going to sell at the end of the year, from one sow, it will be probably way above 30, which is very, very good. And we are just probably hitting the mark that countries like Denmark and some farmers in South Africa are doing. And yes, this is what makes the farmer grow.
Now we have come to the end of this segment. Mr. Musa, your final remarks to our audience there at home in just a snippet, 30 seconds.
Pig Industry Board is there for you, and farmers, we always encourage you that if you come to PIB, just give us a call. We will tell you when we do our trainings, because farmer empowerment we always believe it's from training, and we do train the farmers. We have our 1-week training courses, 3 weeks, and even those who want to come specifically for AI, we can just do that in a week's time. The farmer is very skilled to do all those operations.
Thank you so much, Mr. Musa. It was a pleasure having you with us today.
Thanks, Wazi.
At this point in time, we are in the third and final segment of your program, where I have taken the liberty of inviting Mr. Tembinko Sinyati, the Communications Focal Person, Zimbabwe Agricultural Growth Program. Mr. Nyati, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yes, as we get into our discussion, maybe as the focal person, communications focal person, a brief synopsis of ZAGP. What does it stand for? What does it entail in our society?
Okay, the Zimbabwe Agricultural Growth Program, the ZAGP, was formulated by the government of Zimbabwe and the European Union. So the European Union came in with 40 million euro funding to support livestock development in Zimbabwe. So ZAGP seeks to address some of the challenges or bottlenecks that exist within Zimbabwe's livestock sector. It's basically focusing on 5 value chains: pork and goats, poultry, beef cattle, and dairy. So in addition to those 5 value chains, there are also 2 support projects. One is looking at animal health and food safety, called SAFE. Then the other one is looking at linking extension, research, and education just to improve the flow of information from the extensionist to the farmers who need the knowledge the most.
Okay, now the ultimate goal or the goals that are set by a ZAGP that you would want to achieve, and maybe your time frame, and maybe even a look into the future. What are you seeking to achieve as ZAGP?
Okay, ZAGP is looking at improving the production systems of livestock farmers with the ultimate thrust of commercializing and improving the incomes of the beneficiaries that we're targeting. So you have smallholder farmers, you have the private sector, you have processors, you have integrators. So those are all the targets of ZAGP with the goal of commercializing and improving incomes at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Nyati. As we round off our segment, we have come to the end of this edition. Your word of advice or your recommendations to our audience there at home.
Okay. What we are trying to emphasize as ZAGP is that you can earn great incomes from livestock production, where you can also get in touch with the various projects, the 6 projects that I've mentioned, 6 projects that we're implementing. You get more information on how to improve your production, technical guidelines, technical manuals, and just general assistance on how you can improve your production across the different value chains that I mentioned.
There you had it, viewers. I was here with Mr. Nyati, where we're talking of the Zimbabwe Agricultural Growth Program. From me, your host was Zanai Manyore, and the crew behind the scenes. Have yourselves a fabulous evening. Thank you for watching.